Morning, good morning. Whew. I am tired. All right, let me share the link. Get ready. Here we go. If you're new here and you're wondering, like, who the heck is this lady and what link is she sharing? Hi, I'm Naomi. I'm a ghostwriter. And I have a writing group over on Discord that I share the link to. And I also can't type and talk at the same time because as I'm typing, my thoughts are running as words in my head. So I can't do both. Hello, good morning, good morning. How are you, Sarah? How are you, Kimmy? You two got here before I shared the link. I'm going to have to get up in a minute and like go move my cat because I can hear her digging into the garbage like a dog. Weirdo cats. Hello, Alex. Not gonna lie, every time I try to see if I can say hi before you share the link. Oh, really? Well, today, I don't know if you got it before I shared the link or not, but you definitely showed up before I shared the link. Good morning. Doing taxes, so only half here. All right. God, I gotta do my taxes. How are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you doing, Tex? You got a live notification. Nice. You doing good? Awesome. I need more sleep. Don't remind me about tax. That's Alex's fault, okay? That was all Alex. I have to do mine. I started doing it, and then I don't remember what pulled me away from it, but I started doing it, and then I was like, oh, I need to wait to get this other thing. No, I don't remember what the other thing was, and I don't think I needed to actually wait for anything. I'm pretty sure I had all the paperwork I needed. I don't know. What advice do you have on finishing a book? Ooh, good question. Okay, so first, this first piece of advice might just feel like not really advice because it kind of sounds dumb, but like, say hello to Floof. Okay. She doesn't like getting picked up. She just always wants to be on my lap. Okay. Plus, most of the time when I pick her up, it's because I'm putting her down. So, like, usually as soon as I start to pick her up, she's like, no. Okay. All right. Lay down. Butt down. Come on. Anyway, sorry. So, advice, finish book. Oh, yes. Figure out what works in your brain because we're all different, right? And our writing, I'm covered in your fur. So what motivates one person doesn't necessarily motivate someone else. Some people are really great at bouncing from project to project to project to project. Some people are not. I used to think that I was good at bouncing from project to project to project to project. I thought that's what all writers did. I thought it was normal. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I realized that no, I actually suck at that. It just felt comfortable. And so I was confusing comfort with progress, but I wasn't actually making any progress. So like really dig in and like define what works best for you. How does your brain actually work? What is actually motivating for you? And what do you just do simply because you think you're supposed to do it that way? Your friend does it that way. Your other author friend does it that way. You read it in a book somewhere and you just think that it's supposed to be that way. Then build your writing routine in a way that works with how your brain works. So for me, the routine, like people ask me, like, how do you write every day? I don't, but I make myself go through my routine every single day. And a lot of times it will get me motivated. So dodging the I know, right? So that's going to be the first thing. Once you can figure out what truly motivates you, it's a lot easier to build your routine around that so that you're always motivated through the entire process. If you happen to be motivated by the result, then, you know, thinking about when this gets finished is going to probably work for you. Or like milestone rewards will probably work for you, right? But if you're the type of person who doesn't really care about the result so much, but you need the actual journey itself, the actual thing that you're doing to feel rewarding, then you're going to build your routine differently because you're going to want to make sure that the actual thing that you're writing itself feels rewarding, because the rewards aren't going to do anything for you, right? So that's the first thing. Second, once you know that, there's 3 stories that I always tell everyone to write. There's your champagne story. That is, imagine yourself in the future and your book is published and you have accomplished whatever. Sky's the limit. Pick whatever you want. Write that story. So, you know, if it's you received an award, or you're at a movie premiere and your favorite actor is you're there because they're doing your book, or whatever the case may be, whatever you're tipping the champagne to, write that story, write that night as if it's already happened. You're dressed up, you're on the red carpet, you see your favorite actor, they stop to say hi to you. What were they wearing? What, cologne did they have on? What did they smell like? What were the lights like? So on and so forth. Write as much detail as you can. Put that aside for a minute. Next one is your inspiration story. That is rethinking the moment you got your idea. Like the moment you said, I'm going to write this book. Usually, not always, but usually that moment is filled with inspiration and at least some level of joy. So write that story and get as much detail in as possible. Where were you standing? Who were you talking to? Once again, what were the smells like? What were you doing at the time? How did the idea come to you? Get all of those things back in, and write as much detail as you can into that story. And then the last one is a fan story. This one is, imagine your book has come out. So it's, in the future sometime, your book has come out, you're out and about doing your thing, and a fan comes up and says, oh my God, I read your book. It's my favorite book. Write that story. Like, describe what your fan is wearing, where you were. Were you in the grocery store? Were you in a bookstore? Were you doing a book reading? What impact did they tell you that your book had on them? Like, all these things, right? And write that story as if it's already happened. So once you've got your writing routine set up in a way that matches how your brain operates the best, and then you've got these 3 stories. Every time you start to lose a little bit of your motivation, you can read any or all of these 3 stories and put yourself back in that place of, this is why I wanted to do it. This is who I wanted to do it for. This is the impact I wanted to have. This is the career I wanted to launch, so on and so forth. It carries through everything from your own personal goals to the objectives, to what you're hoping your readers will get out of the story. So read through all of those to help re-inspire you. And then you can also always go back and reread the book or rewatch the movie or whatever it was that helped inspire you as well. Hello, Sam. Why has it been a week of Mondays? There has never been a truer statement. I swear, it has been like a whole week of Mondays. That convention I went to got me 5 times what I made the year before. This is exciting. Yay! Thank you for the advice. Do you mind if I ask you about how I publish my books personally? I've always done self-publishing for me. Manuel from Kenya. Hello, Manuel. Oh, coffee. Can I please be your friend? Okay. I don't know what that means. You're not going to like stop by my house, are you? You're so feeling that cup right now. Which one do I have? Oh, yeah. Like, I'm here. Okay, done. Yay! Last night, I was in bed by like 9. Maybe out by 9:15. Maybe. I just remember my phone was starting the nighttime beep when I went upstairs to bed, right? And the kids were already in bed, and I was like, woohoo. And then, do you think I got sleep? Something woke me up at 12:30, and I have been up ever since. I have not been able to get back to sleep. Like right as I was getting ready to start dozing off again, my alarm went off, and then my kid came into the room to let me know that my alarm was going off. So, good morning, Shannon. How are you? Your ears are cold. Why are your ears so cold? Which seems most successful for you, Amazon or Facebook ads? I'm trying to crank up my promo. Okay, so I don't think one is more successful than the other. I think that they work in different ways depending on what you're trying to do. So Amazon ads work well for people who are currently searching. They get onto Amazon and they're looking for something. Maybe they're looking for you, maybe they're looking specifically for your book, or maybe they're just looking for something in that genre, or maybe they're looking for another book that's just happens to be similar to yours, or whatever. So in that moment, they are already looking for it. The intention to buy is already pretty high. So now you just got to get their attention because they're already in the mood of wanting to buy something. Now, whether or not, they have the money, the budget, the timing, I don't know, but it's a lot easier to get someone from Amazon who is already looking to buy something to say, yes, I'm going to buy your book, than it is pretty much anywhere else, right? Because pretty much anywhere else, they're not in that mindset to buy yet. They're just collecting for their TBR or whatever, but they're not in the mindset to actually buy. When they hit Amazon, they're usually in the mindset to buy, which means you can also get them to follow you, which means you can also get them like to save your book like onto a wish list or something if you can't actually get them to buy. So that's where Amazon ads are really, really strong, right? Now, when you want to buy a book, most of us don't head over to Facebook and start scrolling to see what Facebook feeds us and to say, like, oh, okay, that's the book I want, right? Facebook ads are really good for staying top of mind, for grabbing attention where people are at, and like pulling them back over. Like, hey, you were checking this out on Amazon before and you didn't buy it. Why? Don't you want it now? Or like in the case of a lot of my clients, we use Facebook ads to like, we advertise their blogs. Like we spend like maybe 50 cents a day, a quarter a day, something like that, because we're putting their blogs out per ad. We spend more per day, but like per ad, we're spending to share their blogs. Not even to sell anything. It's just to share their blog posts. And then the blog posts have ads on the side, or a pop-up that says like, I'm doing a workshop, or join my launch team, or whatever the case may be, right? So, and what that does then is they've got 15 to 20 different ads that are all running to the same site, to the same domain, and ultimately to the same goal of showing them whatever it is on the site that they want them to do. But because there's so many of them, we don't run the risk of ad fatigue, you know, where after a while you see an ad and you recognize it in a split second and you just keep scrolling right on by. We are able to avoid that by having this bigger library of ads running at the same time. But they'll go to the, you know, sometimes they go straight to the book. Sometimes they go to the book on their site, like get an autographed copy. More often than not, it goes to a blog post. And then something in the blog post will say, don't forget to join this launch team, or don't forget to buy the book, or whatever the case may be. So very different purpose than the Amazon, because the people on Facebook, they're not in a mindset to buy. They're there because they're doom scrolling, or they're trying to connect with family, or they're just, you know, wasting time and just trying to scroll, relax, whatever, but they're not there searching for something to buy. So those ads have to serve a different purpose, but they work better at that purpose than Amazon ads work at that purpose, and vice versa. Does that make sense? I'm back. Okay, sorry. Someone left me a voicemail. Okay. Roger, hello. What would you say are the easiest and most difficult genres of books to write? It's going to depend on you. It's some people, it's really easy to write, say, rom-com, but they struggle to write fantasy, or even they struggle with like adventure or mystery or something like that, where there's like a lot of complicated interweavings. Other people, exact opposite. They can write mysteries, and super complicated mysteries at that, really easily, but they struggle with the rom-coms. They struggle with mainstream comedy, I'll put it, you know, like just the things that they find funny aren't the same things that you would find in a rom-com. So they struggle. I can't even really say anything outside of your comfort zone, because you can step outside of your comfort zone and do some really great writing. And you can always learn a new formula. But the first time you write that new formula, that new form of storytelling, that new plotting formula, you know, whatever, it's going to be a struggle. So I don't think that there's one that is easier or one that is harder. It's really just what you're used to. Facebook book ads get me all the time, not gonna lie, but I didn't get on there as much, so I'm weak against them. Hello, Mason. I have been writing for a few months now, and I'm really struggling to finish it. I think I might need to go and get some real life experience to get the creative juices flowing. Of course, you know, when I saw your first comment, I was like, please don't be the same troll who keeps coming in and talking about that and wanting real life experience. And yet you are. Okay, you had your fun. Bye. Stop ignoring me. It's the first comment I saw from you. I thought I could write a rom-com, but oh my gosh, they are not easy to write. Hats off to all the rom-com writers out there, right? They're really not, you know, and I think sometimes, you know, actually, there's like an analogy here too, because when we're watching things like Project Runway, or Next in Fashion or like one of those, they always talk about how simple is harder. Like the simpler the design, the simpler it looks, the more perfect it has to be. So it's actually harder because there's nothing to like hide anything behind, right? And I think it's the same when we think of those simpler plot formulas like a rom-com. It's got a very simple plot formula, but that makes it harder to write for a lot of people because they feel the pressure of there's no complicated like timey-wimey stuff to hide plot holes in here. like you got to get it all. Hello, Houston. Farah. Hello, Farah. How are you? Is that my issue with rom-coms? It could be. Because, Alex, you like rom-coms, right? You enjoy them as a story type. You just struggle with writing them, right? Hello. Couldn't get the 7 sin virtues to be funny. I'm not a hair person. I barely, are you kidding? You see this growth? I barely keep my own hair. Coming in with a hot question, and I feel like I am late to the party. Short stories. What are they and who are they for? Where can I find out more? You are so beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so short stories. I'll be honest, I am not the best with short stories. I am too long-winded. So they work well for indie publishers. They are very hard to get published traditionally, along with poetry, along with collections. They're just very difficult to find an agent and or a publishing house that will publish a new author with a short story or a collection of poems. Like you have better luck when you've already proven your chops, so to speak, as an author with a few full-length novels. So they work really well if you're indie publishing. And depending on how you want to put them out, like if you're thinking a collection of short stories that is all in one book, then that, that's going to determine one strategy. If you're putting them out as individual short stories, that's going to be a whole different strategy. So, your ideal reader, you're going to want to target people who want to be able to read a whole story in a few minutes, obviously, right? You're not going to go after the people, those of us who read like the honkin' fantasy novels, because we're going to finish the story and then we're going to forget about you. Whereas people who read the short stories and are after the short stories, they're not, their reading habits are very different. So those are some of the things that you're going to want to consider as you put together short stories. Now, as far as how to write the short stories, again, I am not an expert on short stories because I struggle with short stories. I really do. Every time I need to write a short story, I wrote a D&D background story, like background history for one of my characters. And when I turned it in, it was 70 pages. Like, I don't do short, even when I tried to do short. So I don't have the best advice for that, other than it is structurally different than a whole full-length novel, but there's still some of the more like imperative beats, like you got to have an opening image. You need some kind of inciting incident. You need some kind of like heroic like fall so that they can get back up, whatever the story is. And then you need a final image, like you need a closure. But beyond that, I really don't know much. What platform do you feel is best for indie book marketing? Your favorite. Shannon, start with your favorite. Whatever your favorite is. Because your readers are everywhere and no one is just on one platform anymore. So if your favorite is TikTok, then focus in on TikTok. And then when you are ready to expand, you can always expand after that. And there's a good chance that if your ideal reader is on Instagram, there's a really good chance they're also on TikTok, or a really good chance that they're also on Facebook. So wherever you end up expanding to, you'll find them. And if you're putting out good content that will attract your ideal reader, they will find you. So just choose your favorite and then put together a strategy that works for that particular platform, and understand what is your ideal reader watching on that platform. How can you get in front of them when they're there? Because we all use the different platforms differently for different reasons. Mine is that I'm not witty enough, I think. I'm more cringy, which became painfully obvious when I tried to write a rom-com. I love cringy, though. Cringy is great. Aussie Coley. Hi. Hello, Aussie. Good morning, Sabrina. How are you? I feel like I am too long-winded, too, but saw it in my feed, just wondering. Awesome. I mean, missing me and Alex could recommend some anime for inspiration. Hello from Syria. Hello. Thanks for that. That's why I couldn't wrap my head around it. Now I don't feel so bad. And it doesn't sound like it's for my creativity. Short stories take skill and self-control that I do not possess. Same. I love all the world building. Yeah. Instagram is probably the one I actually post on. All right. So good news. I am... so my TikTok experiment, y'all remember I was doing a TikTok experiment? Well, that has been kind of put on hold for lack of time and questions and so on and so forth. So I haven't been able to finish the experiment yet. But as of the time that I was like going through things, there wasn't as much of a difference as I thought there might be. And then I was talking to a couple of friends of mine who started telling me about these, about the growing trends in Instagram and what they're trying to do over there. So I'm going to be running some new experiments there, which I will, of course, like fill you in on what's happening over there and how it's going. But yeah, I personally, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to follow through with this, because up to like forever, I have not been a fan of Instagram. And you can tell because my Instagram numbers are like they're so low compared to like my TikTok numbers and whatnot. I am not a fan of Instagram. I don't particularly like the platform because it's always about pretty pictures, and hi, I'm not a pretty picture here. So, and it's so needy as a platform. Like if you stop posting, it forgets you exist. So we'll see how long I can stick with this, but I'm excited to learn about, I will always learn about a new algorithm. I geek out about that stuff. I ran into an amazing YouTube video of Ireland coastal scenery and got me inspired to write 15 pages later at midnight for my book. Yay! Need more coffee for work. Same! I am new, trying to get into reading. What do you think is the best to start with? For reading, start with similar books that you like to, like your TV shows or your movies. I would, if I were an adult trying to get into reading and I grew up not really reading much, that's what I would do. I would start with, like, for example, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I like the Doctor Who novels anyway, but I would probably start with like some of the Doctor Who novels, you know, or I'm a huge like Lord of the Rings fan. I already read the books, but like I would start by getting those novels, like things that are similar to the shows that you're watching. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get into the reading if you already know you like the source material. The stories are going to be slightly different than the ones you watched, but if you already know you enjoy the source material, then it'll be easier for you to get into reading if that's what you're trying to do. Hello, Art. How was your day today? Someone wants anime. I can write short. You can write short? Ah, Dana. How are you? It's been a while. I struggle with writing short. I really do. I have to edit down my posts sometime, like even on Facebook, because I will like write something and then I'll look at it and be like, that's way too long. No one's going to read that whole thing. The Alex summoning ritual worked. I still don't know. Maybe scientifics about information technology. That is your field. So, information technology. So you could do, ooh. I can't remember. There's a bunch of books out there right now. Whatchamacallit? What was that one? Snow Crash? Start there. Snow Crash. And then there's a bunch of like science fiction novels that are fast reads, no less, that delve into the IT. I just obviously forget. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head. Oh, Dune, your day has been weird. Dune was a book first. It was already here. Alex was already here. She's in and out. She did taxes. Yeah, Dune was originally a book. A lot of the shows that we watch on TV were either originally books or they were inspired from pieces of books. I would read not it because you might be pulled out of the story by inaccuracies. You'll try Dune? I'm proud of you for trying to get into reading. I think after you hit a certain age, if you aren't already a reader, it's that much harder to get into it. But I find it very enriching. So hopefully you will too. Alex! Yay! Yay! Oh, I'm so proud of you. Tron! How did I forget Tron? Oh my God. So many movies I've watched and loved only to find out years later it was originally a book. Writing my story in Kishotenketsu structure. Still need to figure out a lot of things. Yeah, that's hard. When a book becomes a movie, it loses a lot of the story content. That's true. It really does. So, sometimes there's nothing that can be done about it. And sometimes it's because of time constraints or added dramatic effect or, yee, that's a little too dark and we want a PG rating. You know? Lord of the Rings did a pretty good job. That's true. They did it. They got it closer than I think a lot of other adaptations do. Yeah. Writing tips for younger writers. All right. So for younger writers, I'm going to tell you what I tell my daughter, who is starting to write. I know I don't push her to do it, but anyway. someone at some point in time, because you're young, someone at some point in time is going to try to tell you that you can't make money writing. They're going to try to tell you that it's a waste of time. They're going to try to tell you that it's not a real job. They're going to try to tell you to keep your feet on the ground and find a real job, and that writing is just a hobby, and that you shouldn't focus on it or care about it or try so hard. And that you shouldn't care so much. And that when you're struggling with your story, that it shouldn't be bothering you because it's just a hobby. So try as best as you can. And it's harder when you're younger. It's harder to do this. And I recognize that. Try your best to let all of that flow in one ear and out the other. And just say, thanks for letting me know. And then keep writing anyway. Keep staying inspired. Keep refilling your creativity cup. Because that's the other thing that we tend to like rob from our younger writers is we start defunding art classes, and we start defunding music classes, and like anything else that gives you a break from number crunching all the time. And then we load them up with homework, and then we beat them out of anything creative. And so they don't have enough time to take in art, and they don't have enough time to process that art before while trying to produce their own through their own stories. And so that makes the whole process a lot harder, and it makes it feel a lot more stressful than I think it needs to be. So if you're dealing with all of that, steal those moments back. Go watch your favorite show, read your favorite books, go to the movies, watch your favorite movie. But like, oh, I'm starting to get mad. You see my face is like turning red. My ears are starting. I'm getting mad. Anyway, make sure that you're taking in the art so that you can produce the art, and that keeps your creativity cup full so that you can keep going, and just keep going no matter what anyone tells you. Pieces were left out, but they try to stay true. I would rather make my stuff into a TV series. All the dark, all the dark. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Books have a lot of subcontext, extra details, so no matter what, they will remove them on the adaptation. Yeah, and sometimes it just depends on who's adapting it and for what purpose and what their ultimate goals are. And sometimes you'll have a screenwriter get permission to adapt a movie, but then the production studio has certain things. So like, for example, they'll say like, well, we need a PG-13 rating. And so certain parts will have to be removed, because if you put it in there, it's not going to be PG-13 anymore. Like if that book has a lot of swear words, for example, or if that book shows a lot of red fluid coming out of people's faces, it's not going to be PG-13. So a lot of times those things will either get cut out of the movie altogether, rewritten, or just not shown, or something like that. Is selling 300 copies of audiobook in a week good? Yes. Me and my friend's book usually sold somewhere between 100 to 300 copies first week. After first week, everything slowed down. Red fluid. Hello, Kathy. Do you think people care about the PG rating, or they watch it no matter what it is? I think the people who care about the PG rating, a lot of them, well, a lot of parents rely on it. I think a lot of parents rely on it, maybe even too much, for the PGs and the Gs. Like, parents are busy, overworked, and some of them are going to use screens to babysit their kids for a while. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do about that. So they rely on the ratings to help them make choices, because the alternative is that they have to sit and either watch/pre-screen these things ahead of time, or watch them with the kids so that they can be there, like, to either, in the very least, have a discussion with the kids if it was something that wasn't age appropriate, but also just to make sure that they're there to change whatever. So I think a lot of them rely on it. Once out of the parent range, I don't think the parents care as much as the industry does, if that makes sense. Like, once kids hit, I don't know, 13 or 14, maybe, I don't think the parents care as much about whether or not their kid is looking for a PG-13 or an R movie, as long as they're not in a big building with 3 X's on top. But I can't speak for everyone. I was on a live chat last night and shared my high velocity lead implant term for a bullet. Lead implant, not lead. If you have a child 14 years old, would you mind him watching PG-18? I don't know. I have 2 children right now. One is going to be 10 in about a week. One is 6. So it's hard for me to say what and how I will feel like when they are 13 and 14 years old. I'm not sure. What I know right now is that my almost 10-year-old can process certain things really well, but she struggles to process other things. So, but she loves Wednesday, but she's never watched the show Wednesday. She has watched the old Addams Family stuff, but she's never watched any of the movies, and she's never watched the show. I don't know why. I never stopped her. She just never asked for it. My 6-year-old loves Cartoon Cat, which is a really creepy cartoon. Loves him. But gets scared at Jurassic Park. So it's hard to say. I think it's a individual basis. The ratings give us a guideline. Ultimately, it's up to the parents. Ultimately, all we can do is use that guideline to help us make choices. But I think for some parents, they rely on that guideline. Do you know what I mean? Love the mug. You're subscribed. Oh, thank you. So who thinks they're going to succeed in banning TikTok this time? I don't know. That's a hard call, because TikTok is basically like portable home shopping network right now, QVC. And they love capitalism. So I don't know. That's kind of hard to say. Why am I seeing this? I don't know. You feel like the mug? Same. Art, hang on, Art. I only see half your question. Book can get remake, reboot? Oh, yeah, you can totally do a remake or a reboot of a book. You mean one that you've already written and you want to rewrite it again, but revamped? YouTube is better than TikTok? Yeah. I'm definitely in my pro YouTube era right now. They want to force the owner to sell it. Yeah, I know. Apparently America wants to be American and control everything. What? You're thinking of revamping a book? I hope you encourage them to do reading instead of gaming or TikTok, and I think you are really good at it. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, both of my kids read all the time. Although they also both want their own YouTube channel. So thank you for the hearts. What's my favorite book? The one I'm reading at the time. Whatever one I'm reading at the time is my favorite. Because every time I start thinking about, ooh, I really like this book, like Lonesome Dove. For a long time, I would have answered Lonesome Dove because I have read that book so many times. Once and Future King, I've read so many times. The Space Plague was the one that like got me into wanting to write a little bit more, and that's the one that got me, that like introduced me to science fiction more than others. So they each have like these little like special places in my heart. And so every time I start thinking like, oh no, that's my favorite, and then I think, oh, but what about this? That one's my favorite. So it's just whatever one I'm reading. Do my kids play video games? Only when they visit their dad. Should I preface and say, unfortunately, I am American? No. Am I a girl's girl? I'm 48. Can we call me a woman now? Gaming teaches communication, cooperation, teamwork, leadership. Yeah, I have nothing against gaming. I've always been a gamer in and of, just by myself. I've always been playing like Final Fantasy, or I really like the RPG, until they all went MMO. I really don't like how friggin' every game is I don't want to be online with other people. I just want to play a game. I love the pink hair. What other colors have you dyed it? I've tried multiple colors before landing on pink. I went through all the rainbow. I had coral for a little while. I had periwinkle. I had teal. I had green. I had like the spring green. Purple. I tried lots. Light pink. How am I feeling today so far? Feeling good, thanks. All games are MMO now. They are. It's so annoying. You're an extrovert, so playing MMO RPGs are fun. See, not for me. I don't like them. I love all the MMO. Well, I like a lot of gaming groups. I'm kind of everywhere. What do you think about Lovecraftian cosmic horror? I like it. Love the pink. Thank you. I don't know. Usually, see, for me, usually it's like when I sit down to play a game, it's usually at the end of the day or on the weekends when I don't have to people anymore. And so the very last thing I want to do is get online and have to people. And I don't want to people in those times. I just want to play my game. I just want to run through the story. I don't want to have to check in with some other guild or wait for some other person to show up or do, like, I don't want to do that. I just want to play my game. You're an introvert. Oh yeah, I am. Totally. INTJ. Great vibes. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Some games can be good, but let's say Mortal Kombat as an example. It only teaches them to be violent. I wouldn't necessarily say Mortal Kombat teaches anyone to be violent. if I don't, you know what? I don't know. So I went to school. I got my master's degree in psychotherapy. And obviously, in a lot of classes, we had been talking about whether or not games make people violent. And there was a study done. There were actually a couple of studies done that showed that kids who were exposed to certain games did have tendencies to like jump to violence quicker than kids who didn't play those or weren't exposed to those games. However, in the same studies, they pointed out that their parents were also tended to be more violent. And like not necessarily abusive, I'm not saying that, but like they tended to be the ones who would even joke casually about being violent. So it's hard to say whether or not it came from the game or if it just came from the fact that the game helped affirm other messaging that was similar to the environment they were already in. So I don't know. I do think if you're already in a household that casually jokes about violence, watches violent movies, so on and so forth, the game probably helps nudge you further along. But I wouldn't say that in and of itself it teaches violence. Does that make sense? I might just be rambling. You love RPGs, but all of my friends hate RPGs. I really like RPGs, I think because of the storytelling aspect. You grew up on fighting games. I was never a fan of fighting games personally. Fighting games for my husband is an aggression release. I was never a fan of fighting games because I could never coordinate my thumbs. So I was always losing. So I never got to play. I don't like games I don't get to play. 5 minutes ago, we were saying that nobody cares about age ratings nowadays. I love violent games and movies, but I'm a huge pacifist. It's just make-believe to me. RPGs and platform games here. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, so on. I was a big fan of RPGs and it's not RPG, strategy games. I really liked strategy games like Civilization. I liked them. Age of Empires. Mario Kart causes violence. I never got to play Warhammer. Right around the time all of my friends were getting into Warhammer, that was when I was working at CBS at the time. And I just never had the time to get in and play. And by the time I would have had the time, like by the time I left CBS and would have had the time to get into Warhammer, none of my friends were playing anymore. So I never got into it. It's fun and it teaches a bit about dinosaurs. For that, Jurassic World is better, but not as funny as Ark. Okay, cool. Tekken 8 just came out, so that is all I see. Enverse, you're about to get timed out. What's going on with people? All right, y'all. On that happy note, Civ 5 is the best civilization. Yeah, I agree. I like that one the best. I don't know what's wrong with these people. What do you think about storytelling of Soulsborne games? Haven't played them. Good morning, Unicorn. Civ 2 is your favorite? Can I edit you? I'm just going to say no. I don't even know what that means. I'm just going to say no. Civilization is a strategy game. And I think there's 6 or 7 out now. Six. Yeah, Kathy, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm just going to say no. On PC? Yeah. Yeah, there were computer games. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I played them. But yeah. All the weird today. All the weird. I have a friend whose channel is on Civ 6. You don't have to Soulsborne games. Just checked some lore video you will love. Recommend Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne. Okay, cool. From Soft Games are pretty and deep RPGs. Your husband loves Civ 6. All right. On that happy note, I have to get going. So it is about that time. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've played anything. I just got Luna. Because it's got like bunches of different games. So trying to give myself some weekends to like relax and play on there, but I haven't yet. Much. I mean, I've explored a couple of games. It's got some cool stuff in there, but we'll see. Anyway, y'all. D&D is fun, Kimmy. It is. City Skyline can improve engineering thinking. Ooh. How do you find time, though? It's so hard. You want to learn D&D? Oh, it's so much fun, Kathy. All right. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning and asking your questions. I hope you have an amazing day. Go get all the words written, and I will see you tomorrow morning, okay?